Hello. Hey, what's happening, y'all? I'm back again, and today we're going to be discussing something that's very crucial in photography, and it separates amateur-looking pictures to professional-looking pictures, or however you want to see it, but it's depth of field. So we're going to talk about basically what is depth of field and how do you control depth of field, because you do. So, here we go. First off, for those of you who don't know what depth of field is, depth of field simply refers to how deeply in focus your picture is. If you're into photography, I'm sure you like pictures with shallow depth of field. You might not know what it is, but here goes. Shallow depth of field simply means that something is in focus and everything else is out of focus. So the depth of field talks about how many planes are, not how many like a number, but how deeply into pictures as far as planes are concerned, like planes of existence. So, if this is out of focus and this is in focus and this is out of focus, that's your depth of field. If everything's in focus, that is depth of field as well. So, it's just referencing depth of field, just references that, your focus, what's in focus and what is out of focus. A shallow depth of field refers to when something is in focus and it quickly fades into out of focus, in front and behind the subject. So, it could be the subject, it could not be the subject, but whatever is in focus, it's shallow if very little of it is in focus. It's not deep. A deep depth of field is when everything's in focus. So, in a nutshell, that's all depth of field refers to. So now you know what depth of field is. But now we got to find out how to control it. It makes no difference if we know what it is if we don't know how to control it. So here we go. There are three criteria that affect your depth of field. It's your f-stop, your focal length, and your distance to the subject. So your f-stop being the aperture, your focal length being what lens you choose, and your distance being basically, how far away from your subject is your camera, So those are the three things that affect it. Your f-stop, basically the wider the aperture, the shallower your depth of field. And, on the other side of that, the smaller your aperture, the little hole's tiny, you can either go wide or you can go small. The smaller your aperture, the deeper your depth of field is going to be. So depending on what you're looking for, those two things affect your depth of field. And that's something that most people think is what affects depth of field. And, I've said it before, this is what affects depth of field, your aperture. But there are the other criteria, and they're just as important. So, that is like the main concern of most people, but the other two things do affect, depth of field as well. The other two being, the distance from your subject and the focal length, the lens that you choose. How much of a zoom does it have? So the wider the focal length that you choose, the wider the focal length you choose, the deeper your depth of field is going to be. The more planes of existence are going to be in focus. At the same f-stop, if you have a 24 millimeter at 2.8 and you're the same distance away from something, the 24 millimeter is going to have a lot of things in focus. If you throw your 200 millimeter on, stay the same distance away from the subject, the depth of field is going to fall off quicker. The focus is going to fall off, quicker in the front and the back. You're going to basically have a shallower depth of field. Same distance, same f-stop, different focal length. So, that's how that would affect your depth of field. And so you choose. You're making a conscious decision as to what you want to do. And, now you have a little bit more tools to know, what your decisions mean to your depth of field. The third criteria is the distance to your subject. So the closer you get to your subject, the quicker the focus is going to fall off. The shallower your depth of field is going to be. With the same f-stop, same focal length, if you get close to something, the focus is going to fall off quicker. If you get further away, you're going to have a deeper area in focus. So, depth of field refers to, how quickly that focus falls off, how quickly the picture gets soft, and, you control it with, the three criteria for controlling depth of field. So, now you have that, and that's huge. If you know this, this is something that is, that separates photographers, like the level of photography you're learning. So, keep learning, keep watching, I'll keep teaching, and thumbs up this thing. There's a little thumbs up thing that you can do down there. I think you have to press it twice for it to even work. If you press it once, it doesn't even work. You have to press the thumbs up 2 times in order for it to give me a thumbs up. And so, the more you do that, the higher I rank, the more people watch, the more people learn, and it's awesome. So thanks for watching all the way through, and thanks for any comments and everything like that. Questions are always welcome still. Comments, thumbs up are obviously, the Bombay, and I love you all, man. So peace, take care, and I'll see you around. Are you ready to learn the core concepts behind taking great pictures all the time, every time, so that you can take pictures in any situation that you find yourself in? This DVD will teach you proper exposure, composition essentials, metering light, flash photography, about light, action photography, low light photography, staying in focus, white balance, and about pixels. Every chapter is broken up into sub-chapters so you can learn what you want to learn, when you want to learn it, and learn at your own pace. I don't just show you the settings that I use, but I show you why you choose the settings that you choose to get the best pictures around. And don't worry, it's not that difficult. This is the learning tool that I wish I had 10 years ago when I started, and that's why I'm offering it out to you guys for the price anyone can afford of $25, so photographers around the world can learn what I want to teach them. Email me at photomagic001@yahoo.com to place your order, and we'll get this disc in your hand as soon as possible. Thank you very much, and all the best to you.